again to another episode of the Amani Podcast. Today is a special day because we have a special guest in our midst today. And yes, today I'll be your host. My name is Ayodele Fasu. You already know that I'm the co-founder of Amani Health. Today we'll be talking about something very, very important. So before we get into it, I would like to introduce our special guest. She's popularly known as Fab Mom, but I will leave the introduction for her. So welcome again, Fab Mom.
Thank you so much. Amani is family, so I'm happy to be here.
Thank you. So today we'll be talking about something very important. We know you are, motherhood advocate, parenting advocate, family advocate, and we just want to talk about self-care, the importance of self-care in effective parenting. Does it really matter? We hear self-care, up and down, but what does it really mean? And why is it important for effective parenting?
Thank you. So self-care is very, very important because as a parent, as a guardian, you can't actually pour from an empty cup. I know that it can be very demanding. Sometimes the demands of life, demands of your career, if you're a woman or even if you're a man, father or mother, when you get back from work, you still have to parent. So because you're human, you're depleting those resources. It's just like bringing out money from your accounts. You have to top it back. So self-care is your own way of replenishing all the lost energy and all that you have put out, poured into the home, whether as a homemaker, poured into your children, whether as a mother or father. You need to replenish. If not, you run out of steam.
Thank you very much for that very brief but impactful explanation. So, why do you think it's important? Okay, we have learned now that it's important for us so that we don't pour from an empty cup.
Yes.
So, what is the correlation between self-care and effective parenting? Does it correlate,
Yes,
and where do we find the balance?
Yes, it does correlate. Let me take you back to the analogy I made about your account.
Okay.
I don't know about you, but when I receive debit alerts, my heart they cuts. But when I receive credit alerts, I'm happy. So it's the same way when you take out from yourself in whatever manner. That's when you give out. You feel a bit deflated. But when you pour back in, you feel re-energized. The same way with parenting, like I said earlier on, when you expend so much energy, you wear out. And that's what makes you overwhelmed as a mother. That's what makes most mothers, makes some of us yell. Not necessarily because our children are stubborn. It's not really that action, but because you're already tired. Maybe you just got back from work, maybe traffic, you were in traffic while you were at work, your boss gave you one serious work, and then you're getting in from the door, maybe your toddler is crying, mommy. I'm sure, except you're in a super good mood or very intentional, the first reflex action will be to shout, leave me, I beg. Let me enter the house. People will not kill me, not kill my mother. So because this is very, very typical of parents, it's very important that once in a while you take out time to take care of yourself by doing what you love. And sometimes I think the mistake a lot of us mothers, let me address moms, the mistake most of us make is because when we think about self-care, we're thinking about spa. We're thinking about going to do your hair, making your nails, maybe going shopping for cosmetics. Of course, all those things are lovely. But with this, in this day and age, the economy is not smiling. So sometimes that spa treatments are not things you want to afford every time, except you are very intentional and say, okay, once a month I'll set aside so amount. But because it doesn't really come naturally to we mothers, self-care for a mother, a typical activity of self-care activity can be just napping. 30 minutes, just sleep. I call it power nap. Shut your door, whether you have toddlers or not, let them break down your door. Have that power nap. When you wake up, you yourself, you will feel better. For me, one of the things I do in the morning, once my children are out and I want to start my day, I put my phone on do not disturb after I make my morning post. So from 8 to 12, my phones are off.
Wow.
So whatever messages, after I put it on, I go back to it. So that helps me focus. And that also helps me plan, because I also realize that most times as a mother, if you don't manage your time well, your time will manage you. And before you know it, it's 2 o'clock, the children are back from school, especially when you work from home or you're an entrepreneur or you work hybrid. I usually say once your kids are going to school, once they're having a bath, if you can, bath. It sets the tone for the day. But if you can't even bath at that time, immediately you leave, just bath. Because from experience, I noticed that sometimes they are on Instagram scrolling aimlessly. Before you know it is 12 p.m. Before you know it is 2 p.m. The kids are back. It's back to square one. You will now start thinking, when will I back? When will I cook? Because as they're coming back, you're thinking about what's for lunch. You're thinking about dinner. You're thinking about your husband. You're thinking about yourself. So in between those are busy moments, we need to steal time out to create that time for ourselves. So now it could be shopping, it could be watching TV, it could be reading, anything that just makes you feel happier and lighter.
I like the reading
Or gisting with a friend.
part.
Or gisting.
Yeah. Thank you. Back to what you said earlier, most of us think that once you hear self-care, it has to be shopping or you going to, especially that spa.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I can relate to, I can understand why you would, you want to be relaxed and other, but there are other ways by which you can relax, and you have mentioned some of them. So thank you very much for that. So I'd like to take you back a bit. You talked about women taking care of the home, of the husband, of the children, and of course yourself. So I would like to know, I know that from experience, and from a few, yeah, from experience, I know that some men are typically workaholic.
Yes.
Some, I didn't say more, or some are typically workaholic. So how, if you as a woman or as a mother understand the place of self-care in parenting, how can you help your husband also come to that realization that, Ross, self-care is very important so that you won't break down, something like that. Please enlighten us.
That's a very good question because it's something we underrate a lot. I think that's the place of intentionality and working together as a team. I know that it's something we don't talk about, but a lot of men are overworked. We have a lot of fathers that are going the extra mile to make ends meet for their families, for their wives and children. So if a wife finds herself in such a position, you have a husband who is so hands-on, like number one provider, la, you have to make out time, to help him rest. So how can you do this? I know there's something my husband does sometimes. He'll be like he wants to sleep. I'm like, oh, thank God, you. There's always restless. He wants to sleep. So I say, okay, go and sleep. So once he goes into the room, I'll lock the door and I'll tell the children, your daddy is sleeping. So that's a very easy one you can do. You can help him sleep. And then depends on how you, the wife, does your self-care. So once in a while, as you're going for your manicure or your pedicure, drive your husband, let him clean his toenails, clean his fingernails. Those are things that we really overlook. Or if he's that type that is very beauty or self-conscious, he could also do a facial just like you do. So those are ways you could practice self-care as a couple or as a help your husband. And then evening strolls. Those evening strolls really help. And then if you are a fitness enthusiast, you and your husband, you could also become accountability partners. So once in a while, you could just say, okay, this weekend, the children will not die. Shall look for somebody to take care of them. You guys can just go and do some stretches, just stroll. Sometimes I realize that by even strolling, even you yourself, you clear your head. So if you go as a couple, you realize that in the house, you're not talking. You're on WhatsApp, he's on Instagram. By the time he watches one new video, he's lost. By the time you chat with your friend, time has gone. So sometimes if you want to go on those stroll, if you have somebody that is very reliable to take care of your kids, drop your phones. Drop your phones and just have that walk and talk. You'll find out that that's when you can even talk about some things that are very important at home, or even bet some crazy good ideas. So those are practical ways a wife can help her husband.
Thank you very much. Thank you. And I'm also going to take some notes from what you said.
Even me.
Start
I'm like,
practicing.
oh, Jane, you need to do more.
Yes, I love the strolling part. Thank you. And leaving the phone at home.
Yes,
not
leaving
just
the
strolling.
phone. Leaving the phone. The phone is a culprit, sis.
Yes.
And most times we are on our phones and our kids are fighting for our attention. There was a day my daughter said, Mommy, you're always on your phone. I said, hey.
Wow.
So I dropped the phone. What did you want to say? And then we had a conversation. So I mean that phone call, that can wait, really. It can wait.
So any final words from you?
Let me end it with my favorite saying. Chop life, make life not chop you.
Hey!
So
chop life. Did you hear that?
Chop life, make life not chop you. You know how you're working so hard? When you collect your salary or when you make that money, take out small money, go to that ice cream joint, lick ice cream. Don't carry your children. Stop at that aboki's joint, buy suya, eat alone. You will not die. The children will not die. You see that fine cloth you've been eyeing, go and buy it. Take care of yourself. If not, life will chop you.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so very much. Thank you. I hope you have learned me personally, I have learned one or two things from this interview today. And so this brings us to the end of this particular episode of Amani Podcast about self-care and parenting. Till next time, don't forget to subscribe, put on your post notifications, and share this video with your friends. And of course, like she said, chop life, make life no chop you.